This session is on Google Earth projects. I'm your presenter, Solange Santiso Black, and I'm a Santa Fe Public Schools digital learning coach. In this session, we're going to cover what Google Earth is, how it can be used in the classroom, and I'm going to demo it for you. Let's get started. Google Earth is a 3D virtual globe that renders images from satellites, aerial imagery, topography, ocean bathymetry, and other geographic information. This tool is often overlooked as a classroom asset, but the features offered make this a dynamic EdTech tool for many subject areas. So, what is a Google Earth project? Well, it's a customized expository or narrative experience users create. The projects are built with various features to create a tech rich experience. Some of these features include political and physical features, titles and overlays, custom descriptions, links, images, videos, custom place marks, information slides with street view images, lines, shapes, and grids, and a few more cool things. Building a Google Earth project increases student higher order thinking skills and lends to computational thinking skills, which are the fundamental concepts of computer science. In addition, it teaches geography and skills in other core subject areas. Here are some project ideas for you and your students. Create a history tour of an event or site. Create a timeline of events. Create a journey to various locations around the world. Write a personal narrative by taking a trip down memory lane to a favorite or memorable place. Discover the places in a narrative to increase comprehension of the characters and plot. This concept is associated with Google Lit Trips, which are award-winning supplementary reading resources where students become virtual traveling companions, traveling right alongside characters in stories that are commonly read in grades K through 12. Some other project ideas include find locations that create shapes and angles being studied, see and convert distances between locations, zoom in on a site that has multiple objects to count. For example, students can count how many wind turbines are in West Texas and eastern New Mexico, or count swimming pools in people's backyards in California. They can also create a tour of biomes and learn about the habitats in them. And they can take a field trip using Voyager's guided tours. So whether you start off students with just simple choice exploration, letting them fly anywhere, or just showing places on Google Earth that are pertinent to your lesson, it's important to expose students to this tool to help them see learning in a whole new and different way. Once they are familiar, they can begin creating tech-rich projects that will keep them amazed and learning. To access Google Earth, you can search in your browser or you can put in the URL address, earth.google.com. When you come into the site, there's just beautiful pictures of the Earth. There's the Milky Way in the background. It's just gorgeous. We're going to start our journey in Google Earth by looking over here at the different features that are in this lower right-hand corner. This will take you and fly you directly to your location if you select that. This person you can drop at the street view and you can walk around much like you would do in Google Map. This is a 3D, 2D toggle. It could switch between, and so we'll get to see that. And then this is a compass, and it shows direct north, so you might need to select that for whatever you need to. Then we have the plus or minus for zooming in or out. Down here, we have the camera. This camera means the satellite took the picture from 39,252 miles away from Earth. So that's what we're seeing right there. And then there's the latitude and longitude here of the general area of Earth. And you see it's changing as my cursor is going over it. Over here, we have the ability to draw lines or shapes, and that's a good tool for math. And then here we have add a place marker, which you can do just directly from here. Over here, we have our main menu. And in the main menu, you have search, where you can search for places. You have the Voyager, where you can take Google tours around to different places, and they're interactive. This is where we're going to be focusing on today, the projects. You can change the map style. You can turn photos on your map to show different points of interest. And then there's settings, feedback, and help. We're going to jump into the world. So we're going to search for a place, and we're going to go to New Mexico. So we're flying in. This sometimes makes me dizzy. um, and so if you go to settings, you have different things you can change, like the animations. I actually like the animation of the flying, even though it does kind of make me feel queasy sometimes. I guess I could change it from the speed, or I could turn it off. Um, but I think I'm just going to keep it the way it is. There's also some display settings. You can turn the theme from dark to light if you'd like to. This is important of having the customary versus the metric system. So right now it's in customary. So if you want to change it to the metric, you can change it to meters and kilometers, and that will be the way your distance will be displayed. You can also change the order of the latitude and longitude. So depending on which way you would like to see it, that suits you best. And so right now is it has determined my location. And so we're all good. I'm going to keep everything the way it is. So notice that when I came into New Mexico, I have this info card that pops up. The info card is going to be important to a Google Earth projects. But what I want you to notice is the more info. If I select that, it gives me tons of information about places in New Mexico with pictures, and then you have the capital and some geographic um, and points of interest information, some census, college and university. So if someone comes in and looks at the info cards, they're going to probably go down a rabbit hole. But this is a place where, your students are going to do their research and gather information about whatever place that they are studying. And so this is a very important research tool that's right here in Google Earth for your students. If we come down here back to the toggle, I want to show you that we can take our little guy, and these blue lines are roads. So we can put this person wherever we'd like and drop him, and we would see then the road. So if we drop him, let's go to the Lincoln National Forest. Let's go to Ruidoso. So here we go down in there, animation time. Oh my gosh. So now we're somewhere in Ruidoso, someone's house, and it's much like Google Maps. I can change it we can go back out by selecting the globe, and I don't want to go that far. So I'm going to go just back and see if it'll take me back to New Mexico. So we're doing a lot of animated flying right now. So if I go and I select Albuquerque and go a little bit, it will highlight it and show the city limits. But I would like to show you 3D versus 2D. So toggling between 3D and 2D, it just gives the students a different perspective. So that's another option. We're going to move along and look at some features in the Google Earth main menu. And one thing that I wanted to talk about is the photos. So you can turn on the photos, and these photos pop up with various points of interest that are important to the area. So that's another way to research these points of interest. You can select them, and it will show you pictures of that place. So that is really a nice feature. So you can go around and select these points of interest, and familiarize yourself with pictures that people actually took and posted to Google. So this is a really nice feature. You can come over to the ruler and select it and choose different points on the map and begin to draw lines. And students can do this if they have an assignment where they're supposed to find shapes or discover angles between places. And so now we have this isosceles triangle, and it shows over here the perimeter and area of this isosceles triangle that I created. Um, I could select the triangle, and now I have some points, and I could alter the shape. One of the assignments or projects that you could do with students is you could do a math project where you do different points of interest, and you have students find 90-degree angles or isosceles triangles or a rhombus. And they would make these by using these lines and connecting the cities. So they could do that where they would create a Google project that would show all the different shapes or angles that they found. So that's a really nice way of using the measuring tool. If we come back over to the main menu, we will see map style. So right now we're in exploration, but I could also take away all the borders and labels and just be like that if I chose. I could also then go to everything where I have the roads and all the different um, features that show what is in an area, or I could do a custom. I can turn on 3D building. I could turn on animated clouds, which you can see better when you move out a little bit more. Zoom out. There we have the clouds are moving, so that's a very nice feature. I could also put grids. And so now I have latitude and longitude lines. Here I see the Tropic of Cancer. Let's flip us the right way. Tropic of Cancer, Equator, and Tropic of Capricorn are there. And so students could use latitude and longitude and find places in that way on this virtual globe. So this is a very wonderful tool to keep on if you're studying that map skill. So that is map style. Um, the other thing that you can do is you can also go to Voyager. So Voyager is an interactive sort of like Google Earth tours, essentially. You have nature tours, there's games, there's different layers, there's street view tours, cultural, travel, and education. I really love all the different features that this has and the possibilities of going to places and seeing all these different sites with my students. I think it's a real neat thing. My favorite one is this, and I've actually used this when I was thinking of moving to a coastal city to see how high the sea level would rise in that particular city. So there are a lot of like awe-inspiring and also kind of gut-wrenching, like, things that are happening in our world that Google Earth is trying to capture to educate us with. So all these are for your choosing to show your students. So this is all available to us. It's quite wonderful. So in this left side rail, you have the ruler, you have the map style, which you can change here. This is Google Projects, same here. It says projects, which we'll be focusing on in a little while. But this is another treat. This is I'm feeling lucky. Let's roll the dice. And it just takes us wherever. So if students are like, I don't know where to go, or I don't know where things are, let them try this. Let them roll the dice and see where it takes them, and just keep discovering different places all over the world and help them with their project maybe in that way. So the roll the dice or I'm feeling lucky is a nice feature. So now we're going to move into the part where we're going to talk about how to create a Google project. What I'm going to show you is just a general way. It doesn't pertain to any particular project like a Google Lit trip or a personal narrative or a timeline. This is simply just the basic thing that you need to know to make any of those projects. When you start a project, you're going to go to projects here or in the left side rail where it just has the icon. and you select it. And if it's the first project that you're doing, it's just going to be saying create a project. But if you've already had several projects that you've made, then you're going to go to new project and you're going to select Google Drive. So, because you want to create the project in Google Drive, because that's where everyone has access to and can collaborate. And we're going to give our file a title. Our Google Earth project will all be in Google Drive. And they make a nice separate folder for them. So that's really nice. So we're going to title this one Trip Around the World. So here I can add a description if I need to, and I can just write demo. So now that I've created my file in Google Drive, I'm going to start adding features. The first feature that I want to add is the full screen slide. The full screen slide is more like a title slide and a subtitle slide. That's the way I have been using it. You can delete the title and put in the title that you would like to see on that slide. Google Earth projects are going to create a slideshow. So you want to make sure that you have that first slide as a title slide. Here I can write who this project is by, and I can also add a background picture. So I'm going to go to Google image search, and I can also go add things from YouTube, Google Drive, my photos, whatever needed. So I'm just going to search Earth. Just get a nice picture of our world. All right, ooh, this one's fun. So I'm going to add this and select it. And notice that it says the URL address for it. So that's a nice feature too, if you need to have that for your students. So we're going to select that and that appears. I could also do a background color instead and then do custom colors. And there's other things I can do to alter the slide down here, but I'm just going to keep it the way it is and really nice. So I can preview that right here and see how it's going to look. That looks great to me. And that's my title slide, the full screen slide. So it saves it automatically. I just need to go to the arrow, and now I'm seeing my project with my little menu of what I'm adding to the project. So I want to add a new feature, and I want to go to a certain place. Notice also with these features, I can add a place mark. I can draw a line or shape and then add a folder and do a tile overlay. So these are other options that you can explore when creating your Google project. So I'm going to search the place I'd like to go. So I'm going to start where I am at the moment in New Mexico. So I'm going to select New Mexico. And when I am selecting New Mexico, it's going to animate me and take me right in, flying right there. Our purposes is to add New Mexico to our project. And this is where we can now customize and or keep some of the things that Google Earth has provided. So the first thing is I want to do is actually replace maybe the information that Google Earth has for New Mexico and write my own. So I just select replace. I can add an image. And so I can go back to my Google search and I can put in my own images and I can make my own little slideshow for New Mexico. And so I can put that in and I can add as many pictures as I would like to add to really make this project what I'd like for it to be. And I can write down here in the little text box my own information and about New Mexico. As I'm seeing White Sands, I'm going to write, I love White Sands. It's a very cool place. So now I am finished with that. I'm going to change my info box from small to large. So it just takes up like the whole right side of the screen. And that's really good, especially if a student is trying to write a lot of text. that might be an important feature. I can also change the icons, and there's more icons here, and I can upload custom icons if I choose to do that. So I have many options here. I'm going to do the dice for New Mexico, and I'm going to change the color from yellow to turquoise blue. And I would like to show the label of the text, yes, but I want to change the default size of that place marker to extra large because I really want it to stand out on the map. And I can also change the label color of New Mexico to blue if I choose, and I can make that also extra large. So that is definitely more obvious on the map. You can add a link if you wanted to. So that is an option. You can insert a widget. You can switch to HTML. I don't know. I don't need to do that. So I'm good. And then I'm done. So now notice that Trip Around the World, my full screen slide, is on the top and New Mexico's here. So now I'm going to add another feature. So now I'm adding a new feature. I'm going to add another place, and I'm going to search that place. I think I would like to go to Antarctica. So let's go to Antarctica. And now we're zooming over there, flying way fast. Ugh. And we're going all the way to the bottom. So we're going to flip the world around a little bit and try to get a good view of Antarctica. There we go. Now let's zoom in. There are points of interest, definitely in Antarctica. Very cool. So I'm in Antarctica at the moment. Let me open this back up. And this is a place that I would like to add to my project. So I'm going to add it to my project. I could definitely go and read it, but I just want to add it to the project. So I'm going to keep Antarctica's information there. And then I'm going to change the icon. That looks like it's a cold icon. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to make the icon a little bit larger. And I'm going to zoom in more to see my icon and my label. And I'm going to change it, keep it white. That's good. But I'm going to change the size of it to extra large. And I'm going to keep everything else the way it is. So now I have Trip Around the World, New Mexico, Antarctica. And I think for the next place, I'm going to roll the dice. Matsui, Japan. So I really don't know anything about this place. So I'm going to keep the information, and I'm going to add it to my project. So now it's added. I'm keeping the information. It looks like a very beautiful place. So I'm going to put a heart. I'm going to change the heart color to purple and change the size. So I am creating a Google Earth project. I have a few slides, and I now can show you a little bit about how it would look, a completed project. So when you completed the project and you're ready to either see your work or it's done, go to present. And this is your first slide. You have a table of contents that you can guide yourself through the slideshow with, but then you can just go through with the arrows as well. So it's going to always take us to our first spot. So that was our first spot. This is the info card that I wrote, and I had my own images. Let me go to the next one. Now we're flying all the way to Antarctica. And when I went to Antarctica, I changed the labels, but I kept the info card the same. I could also select points of interest in Antarctica. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to keep the info card, because you can now go through all the different points of interest, and my viewer can see that, which is really cool. And then the last one was my roll the dice, feeling lucky, Matsu Fogel Park. And so there's that information, same thing with people also explore, and it goes through. I have my label the way I liked it for my place marker, and that is how you create a Google project. So it is a lot of fun for students to do this, and students can get together by sharing their project on Google Drive and then coming in and being able then to work on their projects together. This is something now you can take back into your classroom, and hopefully, some of the project ideas will help you get started with Google Earth. The first thing I would do is just have students even just play with it. Do the I'm feeling lucky, roll the dice, and see where they go. Do some Voyager tours, or just let them go through the earth and just kind of play around and get familiarized with the different places that they may want to study in the future. But next time you have a project, try to think of a way that Google Earth can be implemented. You have that big text box that you can write in. And so students can fill this up and add their own pictures, their own links out to maybe a Google Doc. So there's so many possibilities. Thank you for joining me in this session on Google Earth projects. I hope you learned something, and if you'd like to learn more, please check out the QR code that has sources, further information, and my contact info. Thanks again.